astrologer's cap on who's going to be able to run their life better than they can and give them some advice. They're always looking for that sort of thing. Looking is fine, but have you really found it or not? That's the question.
Don't you find people sometimes almost get violent or really angry when you debunk something that they have thought to be for real? I know I had Uri Geller on the show once or twice, and nothing happened with Uri Geller. Uri Geller was a gentleman who came from Israel and was purported to confuse scientists by bending keys and things in his hand. And for most of us who have done magic, he was a very clever magician, but did not do anything that could not be done by, say, a skilled sleight of hand man. Is that basically
very true? In fact, if the act would have been really very mundane, and certainly couldn't have worked birthday parties or anything like that, bending a key, a big deal. But if it's done by genuine means, if it's really a miracle, then of course it's something that supersedes anything we can do.
Yeah, so people like to believe that.
Indeed.
Okay, now your latest thing that you've been working on are faith healers.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that.
I've investigated quite a number of them, John, over the years, but the three that I've concentrated on lately are W.V. Grant, David Paul, and a man named Peter Popoff. And
I've seen the latter one on television.
Well, he's sort of the biggie of the whole bunch. W.V. Grant doesn't use anything very original. He supplies the wheelchairs, for example, to people who can walk but need assistance with a cane. When he then tells them, leap out of your wheelchair and run around there, they know they can do that. But the audience at home watching the TV program and in the auditorium or the Coliseum, wherever he's performing, they think, gee, that person came in the wheelchair, but he carries 30 of them around in a huge van wherever he travels. Now, this is a flim-flam. There's no question of it.
Are you saying, let me play the devil's advocate for the people who say, hey, wait a minute. Are you saying that everybody who claims to be a faith healer, when people get out of their seat or in a wheelchair, that some people might not on the spur of the moment, even though they're confined, might rise? I mean,
they can.
Everything is fun.
They certainly can, but people like W.V. Grant, for example, they research the audience very carefully. They see somebody walking in or getting out of the wheelchair and edging along to the seat. They know that person is actually mobile, but someone with the electric wheelchair, for example, they don't go anywhere near that person because they know that person can't literally walk, and they won't take a chance on it. But Grant has other techniques, too, that are very common. For example, he sends his wife and some of his ministers into the audience in advance and gets the information from the people that he then says he will call out by means of divine inspiration. He's supposed to have the anointed gift of the Spirit, whereby he can call people by name and name their illness because God speaks directly to him.
Sounds like Joe Dunninger.
Indeed.
Yeah. If you remember, Dunninger was a...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the great Dunninger. You're not saying that the faith does not serve a useful purpose, either a power, positive thinking, whatever you want to...
No question of it. Psychosomatic diseases can be relieved this way, and unfortunately, we sometimes take away the symptoms and we don't take away the disease. And that can be very dangerous. It's like popping pills. You take away the pain, and the disease is still there, and that can't help us at all.
Now, you've got a small piece of tape here we're going to look at. Would you tell us what we're going to see here and how you did this and what it's supposed to show?
Well, we've researched Peter Popoff very, very well, and Mr. Popoff, pardon me, Reverend Popoff, is not going to be very happy with this, I don't think. You're going to see, first of all, a short segment of tape as you would see it if you're watching it at home. This is what Popoff featured on his own program. You will apparently see a healing. Now, we went to Houston, Texas, and we discovered that the man was wearing, of all things, a hearing aid in his left ear, and a man who heals the deaf, Popoff himself.
Oh, I see.
And a man who heals the deaf and the blind isn't going to have much use for a hearing aid. One would think if God is speaking to him, maybe someone else is speaking to him. So when we got to San Francisco, we put this fellow, Alec Jason, as an expert in electronics and a surveillance man, and he put a scanner, an electronic scanner on it, and we picked up something interesting. But first, let's look at the first cut of tape.
All right, this is the tape as you would see it if you were watching the show. Okay, watch the monitors.